Wednesday, December 1st, 2021, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at how sovereign nations are continuing to accumulate gold aggressively in 2021. I spoke about Brazil back in July, how they increased their gold reserves by 60%. Today we're going to look at Singapore and Serbia. Before I do that, though, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the market's reaction yesterday to Jay Powell's comment about transitory. There's a big emphasis on the fact that he said transitory. We should forget that word now. And the market took that as being very hawkish. And in the face of it, it is. But I usually don't listen to the press conferences of FOMC meetings. I try to stay away from that. But I did listen to it back in November, at the beginning of November, November 3rd. They had their press conference. And I remembered someone asking about transitory. And when I saw the market's reaction yesterday to what he said in Congress about transitory, I thought, well, he said that already almost a month ago, so it wasn't anything new. So I'll just play to you part of his answer to the question about transitory, not yesterday, but on November 3rd during the press conference. I'll also put a link to the press conference below in the description. The Fed has a YouTube channel and also up in the cards. This is what he says, and this is why I thought the market is overreacting. This is nothing new. So here we go.
The opening of the economy have contributed to sizable price increases. Then we said progress on vaccinations and an easing of supply constraints are expected to support continued gains in economic activity and employment, as well as a reduction in inflation. So we're trying to explain what we mean and also acknowledging more uncertainty about transitory. So it's become a word that's attracted a lot of attention that maybe is distracting from our message, which we want to be as clear as possible.
There you go. Already, he said almost a month ago that the word transitory was more of a distraction than anything, which to me means let's forget about it. So that's all I wanted to say. And what does that mean? Well, that means maybe that the fact that the stock markets dropped so much. And I saw one of those heat maps where they have all the components, I think, of the S&P 500 or the Dow 30. And the only stocks that were green were Apple and Pfizer. And Apple was up 2.2%. So the tweet said, can you imagine if Apple wasn't up, how much worse the market would have been? So maybe there's something more than just Jay Powell's comments yesterday, because to me, already he wanted to forget about transitory a month before. So it was nothing new, but maybe algos have a short memory. Anyway, let's get back to sovereign nations purchasing gold. And I would say in the past 5-10 years, there's like 2 or 3 nations really that bought a lot of gold that we were familiar with. It's China and Russia and maybe Turkey. In the last few years, India has started buying quite a bit of gold. But now we're starting to see different nations that are usually not known for buying a lot of gold. So yes, as I said back in July, I made a video about this, how Brazil's gold reserves soared by 62% in June. Yeah, June of 2021. So that was a huge increase in Brazil's gold reserves. I made a video about it. I'll put it up in the cards and down in the description. So yesterday, Bullion Star. They're a bullion dealer, I think, in Singapore. And I highly recommend you follow Bullion Star. They have a blog. Ronan Manley writes great articles for Bullion Star. And I follow Bullion Star on Twitter. So yesterday they tweeted out, in a low-key move, Singapore's central bank adds 26 tons to its gold reserves. And yes, and that was an increase of 20% to their gold reserves. So are they expecting something, these central banks? Because adding 20% to their gold reserves, or 60% like Brazil did, is big. It's almost like they've got a signal or a message from someone and they need to rush buying gold. It's not like Russia, who's been buying gold incrementally for about 15 years. They started back in 05, 06, increasing their gold reserves gradually. It looks like there is a rush now by sovereign nations to accumulate gold. So we also saw, and thanks to Bullion Star for catching this one, that the National Bank of Serbia, or NBS, the governor there confirmed that all of Serbia's gold, more than 37 tons, is now stored within the country. So yes, it doesn't say that they bought gold, but we'll come to that in a minute. It says this follows a gold repatriation exercise from abroad, which took 2 months. The NBS will continue to buy gold. There you go, said the NBS governor. So there's an article here from this website. It's called tenjug.rs. Tabakovic, Serbia has over 37 tons of gold reserves. And yes, I think that's the governor of their central bank. And she actually said that they're looking to buy. She said, we have a full vault of gold and we intend to continue to buy. So why do I think they're doing that? Well, I think it's because more and more countries are moving away from the dollar system, the petrodollar system. Yes, I made a video which was very popular in 2016 about the petrodollar, and some people asked me, well, you said the petrodollar was finishing, but at the time I said it's like a super tanker. It takes time to turn, and it's the same thing that happened to sterling when it was world reserve currency. It lost a lot of that status after World War I, but up until even after the end of World War II and in the 50s, there were still a lot of countries, old colonies or Commonwealth countries, that were still in the sterling area, as they called. So it takes time for, especially when people have been dependent on using the dollar as a reserve currency, it takes time to get out of that system. And I saw yesterday as well that China is looking to sign some kind of renminbi or Chinese yuan agreement with African countries, which is similar to what they announced earlier this year. I think it was with Indonesia as well. So we're seeing more and more countries trying to find alternatives to dealing in dollars. And I think the gold accumulation is part of that, because gold is, of course, the anti-paper dollar, of course. It's the anti-petrodollar. And that's why we see every day when U.S. markets start trading that there's always pressure on gold, because the Fed and the powers that be in the United States, the globalists, they're fighting for the survival of the petrodollar. And I think it's a losing battle. Not because I have, well, anything personal against these people. It's just mathematics. You just can't keep something that's becoming more worthless and worthless, and that has no real backing. You can't keep that as a reserve currency. So I think that's why sovereign nations are starting to accumulate gold at a faster pace. Sovereign nations that we usually did not associate with owning gold. So there you go. Things are very interesting, and I feel that the currency market, the FX market, is getting very volatile. Yesterday, the euro and sterling, for example, they were dropping very quickly, and they had big drops intraday, and then all of a sudden they turned around and went up. And actually, that's a bad sign, I think, when the FX market, which is probably one of the deepest, more liquid markets in the world, probably the most, and supposed to be the most stable, especially with the major currencies. When that market is trading like that, that's a bad signal. You might be thinking, well, gold and silver were very volatile. I think it's more the paper currencies that are becoming volatile. And yes, I think things are coming to a head. So with that, let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's 20 past 8 a.m. London time. I think gold yesterday had a very wide range. Right now, we were up $6 at 1781. We've been as high as 1795 and as low as 1772. So a lot of volatility. Silver actually outperformed gold yesterday, and it was almost unchanged at the end of the day, while gold was down significantly. So is that encouraging? A little bit, but I won't read too much into it in the short term. But right now, silver is up a couple of cents at 22.85. The high's been 23.05, the low 22.62. The Dow future is up 0.2%, or up 226 points. The NASDAQ 100 future is up 1.3%, or 208 points. And the S&P is up 47, or 1%, at 46.11. The FTSE is up just under 1% at 71.40. Let's look at the currencies then. Sterling is unchanged at 133.02. The euro is down 0.1%, 113.28. The dollar is up 0.25% versus the yen at 113.43. And the dollar is up slightly versus the yuan, 637.02. Aussie dollar is up 0.33%, 71.50. The dollar is down 0.2% versus the Canadian dollar, 127.55. And the Kiwi dollar is up 0.33% at 68.44. To the commodities, WTI crude is up 4%, actually almost 4%. It's up $2.60 at 68.50. High-grade copper is up 1.3% at 4.33. Carbon emissions are up slightly, and natural gas actually has continued to drop. It's down 4% at 4.38. So to finish off, let's quickly look at the 10-year yield and the bond market. We're up 4 basis points overnight at 1.48%. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.